Hello again. It is possible to pinpoint with some accuracy when the mad need to include visible minorities in every film and television series began. So it was that a little over 20 years ago, when the Lord of the Rings films were made, there was not a single person in the trilogy who was of black or Asian origin. The new prequel, which will be appearing on Amazon Prime in September, on the other hand, is a very different kettle of fish. The thumbnail to this video shows some of the cast from this series, which is called The Rings of Power. This means that at some point in the last 20 years, a decision or a number of decisions were made that all films and television series produced in Britain and the United States should feature a large number of black people and that they should be given important roles. We know that this tendency was going strong 3 years ago because that was when a television adaptation of Philip Pullman's His Dark Materials appeared, in which many of the major roles had been given to black people. In 2011, a film was made of Wuthering Heights, in which Heathcliff was played by a black guy, in utter defiance of his description in the book, of course. But in the television series in 2009, Heathcliff was white. A few other similar examples occurred about that time, and so we can say with some confidence that all this really took off around 2010, perhaps 12 years ago. The idea took hold a little earlier that male characters ought to be replaced by women whenever possible. One early instance of this was M in the James Bond films being played by a woman. This idea really kicked off in the 1990s. It has been remarked, by the way, that if the Lord of the Rings films were to be made today, Aragorn would be cast as a woman, Frodo and Sam would be in a homosexual relationship, and Gandalf would probably be played by a black man. Of course, we might accept that things like The Lord of the Rings are fantasies anyway, and it could be argued that it doesn't really matter what colour the actors are. But the same thing cannot be said for historical dramas. In those, changing the colour and gender of characters has the effect of making them look ridiculous. The new Netflix series Viking Valhalla is a case in point. This features a number of historical characters such as William the Conqueror, Leif Erikson, and the Viking ruler Jarl Håkon. Needless to say, Netflix could not resist the temptation to cast a black woman as the Viking chief, which looks really silly on 2 counts. In the first place, the idea of a woman warrior leading Vikings into battle is preposterous, and in the second, having a black person as a Viking leader makes the whole thing look grotesque. Many historical dramas these days seem to feel obliged to follow such steps. The film of Mary Queen of Scots, made in 2018, was supposed to be a straightforward historical account, and yet it showed black people scattered all over the place as though England in the 16th century was a multi-ethnic society. There were black noblemen, black people all over the shop. I have an idea that future generations will view this current mania with contempt. In the meanwhile, I suppose, we just have to put up with it.